Hello everyone. A very good afternoon to all of you. So the topic for today will be overview of costing. The first part of your syllabus, overview of costing objectives and scope of cost and management accounting. First, we'll be discussing the preparation strategy of the of the costing subject, and then we'll be moving to the topics. Okay, so just give me 1 minute. I'm just coming in. I'm just coming in a minute. Okay, just allow me a minute. Okay, till then, what you can do is just have a quick glance at the syllabus of costing. Okay, so just a minute. Guys, let's first have a quick discussion regarding the strategy and then we can move to the technical concepts. Okay, costing, a very simple subject for you all guys, whether you are from a commerce background or whether you are from a non-commerce background. It doesn't matter. Why? Because majority of the portion of costing here is theory in your syllabus. Okay, yes, you heard it right. It is theory. Okay, it is theory. Main part of the costing is theory. If I talk about the lean system and innovation chapter, theory chapter. Overview of costing, theory chapter. Methods of costing, definitely it's a mix of theory and practical. And the third chapter is again a mix of theory and practical. Okay, majority of the practical questions are in your third topic. Okay, so we'll be doing each and everything, the practical questions as well. But if you do have a fear of practical questions, if you do have fear from practical questions, it's not a big deal at all here. Why? Because we already have 50% of the costing. More than 50% of the costing is theory. Okay, though it's a technical subject, so it's not as easy as it sounds. We need to have a very strong background. We need to create a very strong background and fundamentals here in order to learn this subject properly. Okay, so very good evening to all of you. Let's start with costing. So first we'll be definitely covering this particular portion related to overview of costing. In this we'll be talking about what cost is all about, what is management accounting, what is the scope and objectives of cost and management accounting. We'll be also talking about financial accounting. Okay, then we do have methods of costing. So every industry has different methodology for ascertaining cost. Let's suppose I'm working in a edtech company, right? Education technology company. So we do have our own methodology of computing cost. It can be cost per student basis, right? Now let's suppose if I start my own transport company. I'm into the business of transportation. So I can compute the cost as cost per trip, cost per truck, and so on, right? So definitely the method of costing will always change. Let's suppose if I start manufacturing something, so I need to compute my costing per product basis, right? Let's suppose I started manufacturing the pen, so I'll be computing my cost based on per pen basis, per t-shirt basis if I'm a t-shirt manufacturer, right? And so on. Every business has a different methodology. Then just computing cost is not enough. Just doing cost accounting is not enough. You should be in a position to control the cost and analyze the cost. So you'll be studying here the standard costing, marginal costing, budget and budgetary control, how to prepare budgets, how to set budgets, and so on, right? And then we are having lean systems and innovation. So these are the best practices that we need to follow here in order to achieve the lowest possible cost, right? So strategy is quite simple. Please focus on fundamentals. Majority of the portion will be theory in nature. You'll be getting the theory questions as well in the examination, as well as some practical questions can also be there. The most important chapter in your syllabus is marginal costing, lean system and innovation, and basics of costing. The first chapter is nothing but basics of costing, right? These three are the most important and the most coring topics from your costing syllabus. This is a practical topic, practical plus theory. Rest first and fourth is completely theory. Okay. However, whenever we are reading the theory, we'll read it like we are understanding it in a practical way only. Okay. Don't consider it as pure theory. Read it practically by understanding how actually it is working in the real world. Right? That's our aim. So let's start, guys. Do you guys know what is the difference between price and value? What is the difference between price and value? Any idea? Anyone? Price and value. What is the difference between price and value? Or they are the same only? Value could be greater than price or less than also. Okay, very good. Price is what it cost. Value is the real worth. Very good. Price is the amount we pay for something. Okay, value is the benefit. Perfect. So basically, you guys know what is the difference between price and value. Price is what you pay. Value is what you get. Okay. Price is what you pay. Value is what you get in return. That's what the difference between price and value is, right? What do you guys mean by cost and costing? Is there any kind of difference between the term cost and costing? Any idea? Anyone? Cost and costing. Cost versus costing. Any idea? I'm not going into implied and explicit cost as of now. That definitely will be learning later on. Cost is the price and costing is a calculation method. Okay. Look, cost means the amount of resources given up. How much you have given up in exchange of some goods and services. Let's suppose if I talk about a pen, one pen. So I bought this one pen, but I need to give up 100 rupee in exchange. So can I say 100 rupees is the cost of this pen? The amount that I have paid, that I have given up for exchanging some goods or service, right? However, costing is nothing but a technique. It's a process of ascertaining cost. How to ascertain the cost? Let's suppose I had to manufacture a pen. So I need to buy material. That's a cost. I need to pay 100 rupee for material. So 100 rupee will be my cost. In that manner, I'll be definitely doing expenditure on labor, material. I'll be doing a lot of expenditure, right? So there is a process, there is a technique on arriving at the cost. Let's suppose material is worth 100, labor is worth rupees 50. expense is worth rupees 100. So 250 rupees the cost. This methodology of computing cost, this technique, this process of ascertaining cost is nothing but costing. Just like that, we are having two relatable terms: cost accounting and cost accountancy. Cost accounting and cost accountancy. Cost accounting is nothing but classifying, recording, appropriate allocation of expenditure for determining the cost of product or services. We are doing nothing but we are doing accounting for our costing records, right? We are doing accounting for our costing records for the purpose of control and guidance of management. That's cost accounting, simple. Accounting for each and everything related to cost transaction, related to costing transaction, is nothing but cost accounting. However, if I talk about cost accountancy, that's a broader terminology. That's a broader terminology. Application of costing and cost accounting principles, methods, techniques to the science and art and practice. So, cost accountancy is both an art as well as a science. In simple terms, we call it cost accountancy is the science and art and the practice of cost accountants. So what cost accountants are doing is nothing but cost accountancy. It's a subject, it's a art as well as science. Whereas if I talk about accounting, cost accounting, it is nothing but classifying, recording, right, each and every costing related transaction into the books of accounts. That's your cost accounting. So then what is accounting that we studied in commerce and accountancy? When we were studying the subject commerce and accounts, that was financial accounting. Now we will be studying cost accounting. There's a difference. In financial accounting, it was something else totally. Here we are computing the cost, we are recording the cost, we are classifying, we are summarizing the cost, right? So definitely we'll be having a good amount of discussion on the cost accounting versus financial accounting versus management accounting as well in this particular chapter. Next is the scope of cost accountancy. The scope of cost accountancy contains three major parts. First, you need to ascertain the cost. How much is the cost? Ascertain it. Once you know the cost, then account for it. Record that thing in your books of accounts. And once you have accounted for it, the ultimate aim is to control the cost. Why? Why we are recording the cost? Why we are computing the cost? So that we can manage it, so that we can control it, we can reduce it, right? That's what the ultimate aim of each and every business is all about: reducing the cost, managing the cost, controlling the cost, right? Now, if I talk about accounting, there are three major branches of accounting: financial accounting, that we studied in commerce and accountancy subject; cost accounting, that we are going to study in costing. In our costing subject, we are going to study about the cost accounting; and management accounting, though it is not at all in your course, but you need to have a basic understanding of what management accounting is all about. Okay, you guys need to have a basic understanding of what management accounting is all about, right? First, let's start with management accounting. What is the scope of management accounting? Here we can see the scope of management accounting. So there is a lot of theory in this chapter. The whole idea is whether you understand the crux or not, whether you fully understand the crux or not. So let's directly move to the crux. There are objectives of cost accounting as well. Later on, you can read these things, but let me first explain you the crux of cost accounting versus management accounting. What is the difference between cost accounting and management accounting? Cost accounting. Here we record, we classify, we summarize the cost data. This is nothing but cost accounting. Whereas management accounting is a totally different thing. Accounting system which provide relevant information to managers. It is an accounting system which is providing relevant information to managers. Why? Because they want to do the decision making. They want to take decisions. That's why they need strategic information. So when we are giving data to managers for making decision, that's management accounting. When we are recording, classifying, summarizing cost data, that is your cost accounting. right? When I give you data and you are recording, classifying, summarizing your financial data, that is called as financial accounting. Okay, we'll be definitely discussing the difference between financial accounting and the rest of the two as well. In cost accounting, we need quantitative data. I need quantity, right? I need quantity. That's what I can record in cost accounting. Whereas, if I talk about management accounting, both quantitative and qualitative data are recorded. Both quantitative and qualitative data are recorded. So management account is here concerned with the quality as well, not just the quantity. If a particular thing can't be quantified, still it can be recorded in the management accounting, right? Objective. Here the objective in cost accounting is to determine the cost of production. If I'm a t-shirt manufacturer, how much is the cost of this particular t-shirt? That's what my main objective is. Whereas in management accounting, the ultimate aim is to provide such kind of information to manager so that they can set goals, they can take decisions, they can take strategic decisions. That's the end goal, right? Scope. Because cost accounting is having a restrictive scope, it is having a narrow scope here. It is having only qualitative data, whereas management accounting is having both quantitative as well as qualitative data, right? In costing, you can only account for quantities, for amount, whereas in management account, you can also consider qualitative data. So the scope of management accounting is much wider as compared to cost accounting. The scope of cost accounting is just to ascertain the cost of production, whereas management accounting के अंदर the main objective is to give data to the managers so that they can take decisions. That's why the scope is much wider. The scope of management accounting is much wider. Is there any specific procedure in cost accounting? Yes, we follow certain specific procedures. That's why we are having a particular syllabus, right? That's why we are having a particular syllabus, because we follow here particular process. However, if I talk about the management accounting, there is no procedure. You can record as you like. The whole aim is to give information to the managers so that they can take meaningful decisions, right? So there is no procedure which is being prescribed here. If I talk about the recording part, the cost accounting will be recording the past and the present data. It can only record the historical data. Whereas management accounting focuses on the future projections as well. What can happen in future? What can be my balance sheet of the next coming financial year? That's a projection. That's not at all a historical data. If I'm preparing the balance sheet of the past years, that's a historical data. If I'm preparing the balance sheet of the next 3 financial years on an estimated basis, that's management accounting. When we talk on the parameter of planning, cost accounting is a short range planning, whereas management accounting is short range as well as long range planning. Approach, we have already discussed that it is having a historical approach here, whereas management accounting is futuristic. It is futuristic. It is concerned with कि हम आज क्या decision लें जिससे हमारा future better हो पाए. We need data to take future decisions, right? We don't need data to take past decisions. We always need information to take future decisions. So it is futuristic in nature. Important point, interdependency. Cost accountant can be installed. Cost accountant can be installed irrespective of the management accounting. We don't need management accounting in order to install cost accounting, but if you want to install management accounting, you need data from cost accounting. You need data from cost accounting, you need data from financial accounting, and then only you can prepare the management accounts that will help the managers in making the decisions, right? How can managers take decision if they don't know what is the costing, right? So that's why it is interdependent. Management accounting is interdependent on cost accounting as well as financial accounting, right? If I talk about tools and techniques, then the name of the chapters like standard costing, variable costing, break even analysis that we'll be studying in the marginal costing, these are the tools and techniques of cost accounting. Of management accounting, some of the crucial tools and techniques are cash flow statement, fund flow statement, ratio analysis. सर ये तो हमने फाइनेंशियल अकाउंटिंग में भी पढ़े थे, वो कॉमन टूल्स भी हो सकते हैं, राइट? कॉमन टूल्स कैन आल्सो बी देयर, ओके? सो दीज आर सम ऑफ द कॉमन टूल्स हियर. Now let's discuss about management accounting and financial accounting. How management accounting is different from financial accounting. We all know what management accounting is all about. It is an accounting system that helps managers to take decisions, right? However, financial accounting is nothing but recording of financial information for the business so that we can ascertain correct profitability, we can ascertain correct financial position. Acha, what do you guys mean by financial position? Can you guys tell me? Which is the statement that shows us the financial position of a business? Quickly, anyone in the comment section, let's see who remembers. Which statement shows the financial position of a business? Yes, balance sheet, right? That's straight. Balance sheet. Financial performance, profit and loss account, right? So in financial accounting, we are just concerned with ascertaining the correct profitability and the correct financial position, right? That's what we are concerned about. In management accounting, the idea is to go beyond just the historical data, right? We need information. In management accounting, they don't tell us to collect costing data, to collect the financing data, to prepare P&L, to prepare balance sheet. That's obvious. We need to prepare that in financial accounting and cost accounting. Management accounting is way ahead. They want information, strategic information to take decisions, right? Orientation, if I talk about orientation, management is accounting is having a future orientation. We want to take future decisions. So we need the orientation, a future oriented decisions, right? Whereas financial accounting is historical in nature, and that we have already studied in the first or second class of commerce and accountancy, that historical cost concept. In financial accounting, we are just concerned with historical data. You have bought a building for 1 lakh rupees, let's suppose. That's a historical data. That's a financial accounting data. What might be the value of this building after 5 years? That's a strategic decision, management accounting. If I talk about the users, only internal users are using management accounting. Managers, who are the internal users, only they are using the management accounting. Whereas if I talk about financial accounting, both internal and external users are using it. Internal users can be the managers. Sir, could you please let your pen marking in the PDF? If I let my pen marking in the PDF, for example, this particular box, now this is overlapping the text, okay? So that's the problem which we generally face in the paid courses, that when I mark it with a pen, I get a complaint ki sir clear nahi dikh raha, right? Because I keep on marking randomly, okay? So if I give you the pen markings, definitely you will be having a difficulty कि सर clean notes नहीं मिल रहे. पेन मार्किंग वाले नहीं दूंगा, क्लीन नोट्स दूंगा तो आपको लगेगा सर आपने मार्क किया था वो हमको चाहिए था. So that's a common problem. Okay, still I'll try to mark some of the key pointers. Okay, at the last I'll try to mark the key pointers. Okay. So both internal and external users here are the users of financial information, the financial accounting. Let me just give you an example. Internal users, it can be either managers, it can be my employees. External users, can you guys give me examples of external users of financial accounting? Anyone? We have discussed this while learning the accounting process in commerce and accountancy. What are the examples of external users? Shareholders, okay. Shareholders are owners of my company, so they are not external. Government, yes, government. Why government is interested in my data, in my financial data? Because they need taxes. They are charging taxes. Any other example? Apart from government, any other example? Banks. If I have taken a loan from HDFC Bank, then I need to give them the financial data. They also become an external user. They are interested. Suppliers, very good. Very good, Rupam. Suppliers, external users. Next point is specific rules and procedures. In management accounting, you can go as you like, because here the data is being presented to the internal users only, to the managers only. So there is no set rule and regulation. There is no rules and regulation. However, in financial accounting, we do have accounting standards, Indian accounting standards, IFRS, GAAP. So we need to follow the rules in financial accounting. However, there are no rules in management accounting, right? In financial accounting, only financial data is being considered, that we have learned in the very first lecture of accounting process. Only the financial transactions are recorded, right? What is the first step of accounting process? Identification of financial transaction. If it's not at all a financial transaction, we don't care it in the financial accounting. However, in management accounting, we record both financial as well as non-financial data. Okay. Time span, there is no such fixed time span for management accounting. You can do it whenever you want. In financial accounting, usually it's a fixed period, 1 year period, right? Financial year. Objective we have already discussed. Publishing and auditing. Acha, can you guys tell me whether we publish management accounting or not? No, we never publish management accounting. Have you seen management accounting of Reliance Industries? No, it's not published. Have you seen financial accounting of Reliance Industries? Yes. In annual report, they publish their financial accounting data. That's a statutory liability. They need to publish it, right? Whether we need to audit the management accounting, no. There is no such auditing requirement. Acha, what do you guys mean by auditing? Can anyone tell me? Do you know what audit is all about? What is auditing? What is auditing? Checking the transactions, right? Examining the transactions to give a reasonable assurance that whatever accounting I have done is proper or not, right? Let's suppose I have prepared my financial statement. I told that my profit is 1000 crore. Everybody believed, government believed, banks believed, my shareholders believed. Now let's suppose Raju was my auditor. He came, he checked all of my books of accounts, he checked all the books of accounts in my business to ascertain whether the reported profit, whether the financial performance, whether the financial position is correct or not, is true and fair or not, right? So, do I need to get my management accounts audited? No. Do I need to get my financial accounts audited? Yes. If you are a corporate entity, then auditing is compulsory for your financial accounting. Is there any format of management accounting? No. Is there any format of financial accounting? Yes. What is the format of what is the format of financial accounting as per the Companies Act? Can anyone tell me? What is the format of balance sheet and P&L as per the Companies Act? We have studied that in financial statements chapter in commerce and accountancy. Can anyone tell me the schedule number? अरे किसी को तो स्केड्यूल का नंबर याद होगा. यस, स्केड्यूल 3 है ना, स्केड्यूल 3. यस. So there is a format na in which you need to prepare your balance sheet and profit and loss account. How to verify the integrity of auditor? That's very difficult. So there are auditing standards, just like you are having accounting standards in your course. There are auditing standards in India. If you want to perform an audit of company, a statutory audit of company, you can do it if you are a chartered accountant, right? So there is a set of standard in order to verify the integrity, in order to verify the professionalism of the auditor. We need to follow a certain code of conduct. Okay. Personally, in my career, I have done auditing for 5 years. For 5 years, I have done auditing for global MNCs like PwC, like Deloitte, like Royal Bank of Scotland. Okay, I am a chartered accountant by qualification. So for 5 years, I have done auditing only in my career. Still, even after verification of integrity and a lot more things, there are so many cases of fraud, right? There are so many cases of fraud. So human integrity is difficult to verify. Human integrity is always difficult to verify, right? Next, the difference between cost accounting and financial accounting. So as of now, we have understood the difference between cost accounting and management accounting, financial accounting and management accounting. Now we will be discussing about the difference between cost accounting and financial accounting. असली झोल मैनेजमेंट अकाउंटिंग में होता है. यस, कहीं भी हो सकता है, मैनेजमेंट अकाउंटिंग में भी काफी होता है ना. वैसे सही कह रहे हो आप, बिकॉज दैट्स अ इंटरनल डेटा, राइट. ओके. Cost accounting, management accounting. Cost accounting, we are concerned with ascertaining the cost of the production. Financial accounting, we just want to ascertain the profitability. We just want to make the financial position balance sheet. Objective here is controlling or reducing the cost. Financial accounting objective here is to give a complete record of financial transaction so that people can know my profitability, they can know my financial position. Type of cost recorded: historical and predetermined cost. Why? Because in cost accounting there is a concept of budgeting as well. We prepare budgets as well. So there is a concept of predetermined cost as well in cost accounting. Whereas in financial accounting, plain historical data is recorded. Right? Then let's consider the most essential points that are having a high chance of coming in the examination. Valuation, very good point. Stock valuation. In cost accounting, we value our stock on the basis of cost. However, in financial accounting, we value our stock based on cost or NRV, whichever is lower. In financial accounting, we follow cost or NRV, whichever is lower. Can you guys name the accounting standard behind this concept? Can you guys tell me the name and number of the accounting standard behind this particular concept? Cost or NRV, whichever is lower. This concept is as per which accounting standard? अरे इतना सिंपल अकाउंटिंग स्टैंडर्ड था यार. यस, अकाउंटिंग स्टैंडर्ड 2, इन्वेंट्री, राइट. अकाउंटिंग स्टैंडर्ड 2. What is the number of the Ind AS? What is the number of the Ind AS? Ind AS number is also 2. Okay, Ind AS का नंबर भी 2 ही है. Forecasting. Here forecasting is possible. Why? Because of budgeting technique. In financial accounting, no forecasting is possible at all, right? Are there any set standards? Yes, they both do have the set standards. In costing, we follow cost accounting standards. In financial accounting, we follow accounting standards and Indian accounting standards, right? Now let's have a quick round of questions here, right? So this is a rapid fire round. You need to quickly answer me in the comment section. The first question is process of ascertaining cost. Technique, process of ascertaining cost. Quickly in the comment section, guys. And I need answers from all of you guys. The correct choice here is costing. Okay, costing here is the correct choice. That is a technique, that is a process of ascertaining cost. Next, financial accounting is useful for both internal as well as external users. True or false? Financial accounting is useful for both internal as well as external users. True or false? Quickly in the comment section, guys. That's true. Next, what is defined as the art, science, and practice of cost accountants? A very simple question. This is cost accountancy. Okay, third part is cost accountancy. Next is the true and false. Standard formats are used in management accounting for preparation of the reports. True or false? Standard formats are used in management accounting for preparation of reports. True or false? That's false, right? That's false. There are no formats in management accounting. Next, management accounting reports are public documents. True or false? Management accounting reports are public documents. False. They are not public documents, they are private documents. Next, cost accounting cannot be installed without management accounting. True or false? Important. This is important. False. It's just the reverse. Management accounting cannot be installed without cost accounting, right? So this is false. Next, assisting shareholders in decision making is the objective of cost accounting. Assisting shareholders in decision making is the objective of cost accounting. Again false. So ये किसका objective है? Assisting shareholders in decision making is an objective of what? Assisting shareholders in decision making is a objective of what? Financial accounting or management accounting? In management accounting, we consider information that is useful for managers, not shareholders. For shareholders, there is always financial accounting. Let's suppose I'm having a share of Reliance Industries. What kind of accounting I will be concerned with? How I will be taking decisions? By having a look at the financial accounting, not at management accounting, not at cost accounting, only financial accounting. I will be seeing the profit and loss account. अरे invest करते हैं ना companies में. Let's suppose you have invested in share of Reliance Industry. So you guys will be having a look at the financial statements. That is financial accounting. Balance sheet, profit and loss account, cash flow statement. What is the EPS? What is the market price? What is the book value of share? That's financial accounting. So as shareholder, you are concerned with financial accounting. Managers are concerned with management accounting. Okay. So guys, I'm dropping the link of my Telegram channel here as well. You can join this channel. I frequently post some of the videos. I sometimes post questions as well and some knowledgeable quotations as well, sometimes related to finance, that will definitely help you grow as a whole, and definitely that will also help you grow your financial IQ. Okay. So I've dropped the link in the comment section, and you can always drop me the queries as well if you are having any. You can definitely uh, find me on this particular Telegram channel. हाँ, इंपॉर्टेंट करवाऊंगा मार्क, लास्ट में करवाऊंगा. अभी मैं मार्किंग कर दूंगा ना पूरी पीडीएफ पे, तो फिर इशू हो जाएगा, है ना. तो मैं लास्ट में मार्क कर दूंगा डेफिनेटली. ठीक है, लास्ट में मार्क कर दूंगा. Yes, I'm quite posting PFRDA videos and MCQ sessions as of now on this particular group. So you can join this group as well as the Telegram channel of Oliveboard as well. Okay. Cost accounting is wider in scope and includes management accounting. True or false? False. Management accounting is wider, right? Management accounting is wider. Cost accounting is not wider in scope. Acha, tell me one thing. We are having management accounting, we are having cost accounting, we are having financial accounting. किसका स्कोप सबसे ज्यादा वाइड होगा? किसका स्कोप सबसे ज्यादा वाइड होगा? मैनेजमेंट अकाउंटिंग का. क्यों? अरे मैनेजमेंट अकाउंटिंग बनती ही कैसे है? दो चीजों को मिला के, कॉस्ट अकाउंटिंग, फाइनेंशियल अकाउंटिंग. तो इसमें तो दोनों आ गए ना. इसका स्कोप ज्यादा वाइड हो गया ना. फाइनेंशियल अकाउंटिंग तो इज हिस्टोरिकल डेटा, मैनेजमेंट अकाउंटिंग इज बोथ हिस्टोरिकल एज वेल एज फ्यूचर डेटा. सबसे बड़ा स्कोप मैनेजमेंट अकाउंटिंग का है, उससे छोटा स्कोप फिर आपका फाइनेंशियल अकाउंटिंग और कॉस्ट अकाउंटिंग का हो गया. ठीक है. Financial accounting is historical in nature and based on past records and transactions. Definitely it is true. Valuation of stock in case of cost accounting and management accounting is on the same basis. True or false? Valuation of stock in case of cost accounting and management account, in case of cost accounting and financial accounting, is on the same basis. True or false? That is false, right? That is false. We don't account for the stock on the same basis. I told you guys, if I talk about the valuation part, कहाँ चला गया? Ninth point, stock valuation. In cost accounting, we value it at cost basis. In financial accounting, we value it on cost or NRV, whichever is lower, right? So AS2 is for financial accounting, that's true. Okay, AS2 is for financial accounting. Next is the classification of cost. So here is a table. You need to have a basic understanding how do we classify the cost. Let's suppose if I talk about on the nature of elements or on the basis of nature, then material, labor, other expenses and overhead. What do you mean by overheads? It is nothing but indirect cost. Overheads are nothing but my indirect cost, right? They are my indirect cost. For example, I am manufacturing furniture. I am a furniture manufacturer. So I'm manufacturing chairs, I'm manufacturing beds, I'm manufacturing study tables. So the wood that I'm using for making a chair, is a direct material, is a direct materials. However, the choti moti things like nails, keele, right, will be indirect material. That's overheads. Indirect expense is nothing but my overheads. So that's the classification based on the nature or elements. When I talk about the functions, so direct material cost, employee cost, direct expenses, production overhead, administration overhead, selling, distribution, research and development. Now I'm classifying the cost on the basis of functions. Production function, administrative function, selling function, distribution function, and so on. This is the classification based on functions. Then we have classification on the basis of variability and behavior, whether my cost is varying as per my output or not. So as per the variability or behavior, I do have fixed cost, variable cost, and semi-variable cost. We'll be definitely having a discussion on this particular terms today itself. Fixed, variable, and semi-variable cost, classification on the basis of variability or behavior. Now this is the examination question. Controllability cost can be controllable, it can be uncontrollable as well. I cannot control, then it is uncontrollable. Normality, the cost can be normal cost, the cost can also be abnormal cost. We'll be definitely learning about these terminologies one by one in the coming sessions. As of now, we are just building the base for costing, right? As of now, we are just building the base for your costing. Okay. Let's try to understand a very important cost concept. Classification of cost based on behavior, fixed cost, variable cost, and semi-variable cost. When I talk about fixed cost, what do you guys mean by fixed cost? Can anyone tell me? What is fixed cost? What do you guys mean by fixed cost? Rent, very good. Fixed rent. Let's suppose I have a factory. This is my factory. The rent is 20,000 rupees per month, for example. So I'm paying 20,000 rupees per month here, right? So let's suppose I have produced 1,000 units of t-shirts. I'm a t-shirt manufacturer. So in the first month, I produced 1,000 units of t-shirts. How much rent I need to pay? 20,000 rupees. In the second month, I have produced just one unit of t-shirts. How much rent I need to pay? 20,000 rupees. In the third month, I have produced 1 crore units. How much rent I need to pay? 20,000. Rent will always be fixed. Why? Because it's a fixed cost. Salaries, yes. So those expenses that will remain fixed irrespective of the level of activity. Sir, what do you mean by level of activity? It doesn't matter if I produce 0 units or 1,000 or 2,000, 10,000, 1 crore, it doesn't matter. The cost will remain the fixed only. That is called as level of activity. Level of activity means output. How much output I am making. That's called as LOA, level of activity. So can I say that fixed cost graph will remain like a straight line? Here we are having units manufactured on the x-axis. On the y-axis, we are having factory rent cost. So we all know that we are manufacturing 0 units. Even if we manufacture 0 units, we have the cost of 20,000. Even if we manufacture 200 units, the cost will be 20,000. 300 unit 20,000, 400 unit 20,000, 500 unit 20,000. Irrespective of change in the level of activity, the cost remains the same only. The cost is fixed only. That's why we call it as fixed cost. Next is variable cost. I am a t-shirt manufacturer. I want to produce 1 unit of t-shirt, 1 t-shirt. So I need to buy material worth rupees 100. I need to buy cloth worth rupees 100. If I want to manufacture two t-shirts, I want to buy cloth worth rupees 200, and so on. If I want to manufacture 100 t-shirts, I need to buy cloth worth rupees 10,000. And that's how the cost will start going up with my level of activity. With increased level of activity, there will be increase in the cost as well. That is my variable cost. My cost will go up along with my level of activity. If I'm producing 100 units, the cost will be something else. If 200 units, cost will be more. 300 units, more cost. 400 units, more cost. 500 units, more cost. Right? What is total cost? Total cost means fixed cost plus variable cost. So here is the graph of fixed cost. Here is the graph of variable cost. If I combine it, I'll get this graph. Sir, why the line is starting from 20,000? Even if you don't produce anything, still your total cost will be or equal to at least your fixed cost. Total cost means fixed cost plus variable cost. Even if you don't produce anything, your fixed cost will be there. Your variable cost won't be there. If I don't produce any t-shirts, I don't have to incur any cost. But even if I don't produce anything, I need to incur rent of 20,000. That's why the graph of total cost will always start from here, 20,000, my fixed cost. So Raju, rent and salaries are always considered as fixed cost only, even if they change with time. So आपने आंसर खुद दे दिया. They are changing with time. They are not changing with level of activity. Time is not at all the level of activity here, right? The level of activity is, here it is production, or the number of units that I'm producing, right? So the cost that is changing with the level of activity, that is the number of units, my production units, only that cost is variable cost, which is changing as per the level of activity. If it's not changing, it will be fixed cost. And definitely with time they change, right? Because of inflation, every cost has to change. अब रेंट आज दे रहा हूँ 20,000 रुपए महीना, अगले साल से हो सकता है 30,000 रुपए महीना देना पड़े. Why? Because inflation. That's a separate concept. Right? That's a separate concept. Inflation is a separate concept. Every cost will increase in that manner because of inflation. But here in costing, we are only concerned with the level of activity. If your cost is changing as per the level of activity, that's a variable cost. If it is not changing, then that's a fixed cost. Okay? That's the logic. Now we are having a one interesting example. Say for example, this is column A, units, and this is my cost. This is my cost. So in January, I produced 100 units. The cost was 260. In February, I produced 140 units. The cost was 300. Right? The cost was 300. So if I try to recheck this thing, my January total cost was 260 rupees. The total number of units were 100. So the per unit cost was 2.6 rupees. That's my per unit cost. Now, as I have produced more and more units, so this per unit cost should be now, for February, it should be 140 units multiplied by 2.6, right? For every unit, I incur 2.6 rupees. What should be my total cost of February? Can anyone compute this quickly? 140 into 2.6 कितना होता है? 140 into 2.6 कितना होता है? 1.140 into 2.6. कोई क्वांट का चैंपियन हमारी क्लास में? 364 होता है. ओके, पर ये तो सर मैच ही नहीं हो रहा. As per your total cost data, it should be 300. Here it is 364. That means this cost is not entirely variable. This cost is not entirely variable. With the increase in output, with the increase in level of activity, there is not a symmetrical increase in the total cost. That means this is a semi-variable cost. Semi-variable cost. Sir, what is semi-variable cost? A part of fixed cost is also mixed in this particular cost. A part of fixed cost is also embedded, is also mixed in this particular cost. Semi-variable cost. Let me just quickly tell you. No, that's not economies of scale. This is a semi-variable cost, though economies of scale is also a concept, but here in costing we are talking about semi-variable cost. I'll give you an example as well. Your telephone bill, your gas bill, electricity bill. Switch off all the lights for 1 month. Switch off all the lights for 1 month. Still you will be getting a minimum amount of bill as electricity charges, fixed electricity charges, right? Because that's a fixed cost. In that particular bill, there are two elements, fixed cost as well as variable cost. Even if you switch off all the lights, still you will be getting a minimum amount of bill, right? So here we are having total cost and we need to segregate variable cost and fixed cost. Let's quickly segregate it. We know that as per the change in level of activity, the total cost, the cost that is changing is nothing but my variable cost. Why? Because variable cost changes with the level of activity. So for these additional 40 units, I must have incurred an additional cost. Here I can see that is 40 rupees. The fixed cost will always remain the fixed only. So whatever change is being driven, it is totally driven because of variable cost. Because of variable cost, right? So can I say that change in the amount of expense 40 rupee divide by change in the level of activity 40 units, this will give me the variable cost per unit. What is the variable cost per unit? Can you guys please compute it quickly? I'm just coming in few seconds. Okay, 1 rupee, right? 1 rupee. So 1 rupee is my per unit variable cost. 1 rupee is my per unit variable cost, right? So I'm writing it here. Variable cost is equal to 1 rupee per unit. So compute the fixed cost as well. Okay. So let's take example of January. In January, the total cost is 260 rupees. Now this is total cost. It is having fixed cost as well as variable cost in it. I know the variable component. 1 rupee per unit multiplied by 100 units that I have produced in January. So 100 rupee is my variable cost. So 260 is the total cost. 260 minus 100. 160 will be my fixed cost. Let's recheck this. So the fixed cost is 160 here, right? Let's recheck this. The variable cost is 1 rupee per unit. The fixed cost is, in totality, it is 160 rupees. Let's check this. Let's try to analyze February month. In February month, my total cost was 300 rupees, right? My total cost was 300 rupees. This is total cost. It is having both fixed cost as well as variable cost. I know my variable cost 1 rupee per unit. 140 units I have produced. 1 rupee each was the cost. So 140 rupee was the total cost of variable. This is the variable cost. Now I know my total cost, which is 300 here, minus my variable cost 160. is my fixed cost. You can see that the fixed cost is not changing even if the level of activity is changing, right? The fixed cost will not change. That's the concept of semi-variable cost. You can apply this concept in the gas bills, electricity bills, telephone bills. Even if you don't do any call, still you will get a bill. Even if you don't consume any electricity, still you will get a bill, right? That's the concept of semi-variable cost. Okay, guys. So that's all from my end. And as I have promised you guys that I'll be marking as well, I'll be giving you the markings as well on the PDF. So let me just quickly tell you the important things as well, and I'm marking on the PDFs as well. Okay. Okay. So amount of resources given up for cost. Resources given up. Technique, process is what costing is all about. Cost accounting, recording, classifying, cost accountancy. This line is important. Art, science, and practice of cost accountants. Then in cost versus management accounting, this point is important. अच्छा बाय इंपॉर्टेंट ऐसा नहीं कि आप सिर्फ इंपॉर्टेंट ही कर रहे हो. यू गाइज नीड टू लर्न ईच एंड एवरीथिंग दैट आई एम टीचिंग यू with a special focus on the things that I'm telling you that are important. Specific procedure point is important. Interdependency is very, very important. Approach, tools and techniques. In management versus financial accounting, users, orientation, specific rules, publishing. In cost and financial accounting, stock valuation point is very, very important. Okay, guys, that's fine. Okay. So that's all from my end, guys. Thank you so much. सेमी वेरिएबल का एग्जांपल दीजिए. डेफिनेटली दे देता हूँ एग्जांपल, एक बार वापस दे देता हूँ. इलेक्ट्रिसिटी बिल. क्या आप लाइट जलाना बंद कर दोगे तो बिल आना बंद हो जाएगा? नहीं, नहीं बंद होगा. Why? Because that's a semi variable cost. That's a semi variable cost. Okay, that's a semi variable cost. अगर आप जलाना बंद कर दोगे तो भी फिक्स कॉस्ट आएगा, तो भी फिक्स कॉस्ट आएगा. अगर आप जलाना चालू कर दोगे तो फिक्स कॉस्ट तो आएगा ही, साथ में वेरिएबल कॉस्ट भी आएगा, राइट? सो इलेक्ट्रिसिटी एक्सपेंस इज अ वन ऑफ द बेस्ट एग्जांपल ऑफ योर सेमी वेरिएबल कॉस्ट. आप जैसे जैसे यूनिट्स कंज्यूम करते जाओगे, लाइट कंज्यूम करते जाओगे, इलेक्ट्रिसिटी कंज्यूम करते जाओगे, आपका बिल बढ़ता जाएगा. उसका फिक्स कंपोनेंट तो हमेशा फिक्स रहेगा, फिक्स मीटर चार्जेस, बट यूनिट्स के कंजम्पशन के हिसाब से आपकी वेरिएबल कॉस्ट उसमें बढ़ती चली जाएगी, राइट? यही सेमी वेरिएबल कॉस्ट का सबसे बड़ा एग्जांपल है. ओके गाइस, सो दैट्स ऑल फ्रॉम माय एंड फॉर टुडे गाइस. थैंक यू सो मच, बाय बाय, टेक केयर, सी यू इन द नेक्स्ट सेशन. तो सर, तो फिर सर इसको फिक्स कॉस्ट क्यों नहीं? आई डोंट गेट योर क्वेश्चन. फिक्स कॉस्ट कैसे बोल सकते हो? फिक्स कॉस्ट तो बोल ही रहे हो ना. देखो, सेमी वेरिएबल नाम से ही समझ में आ रहा है ना. देखो, दोनों चीजें हैं उसके अंदर. इट इज सेमी वेरिएबल. कुछ तो फिक्स कॉस्ट भी है और कुछ वेरिएबल कॉस्ट भी है. सो ऐसी कॉस्ट हो सकती है ना, जैसे लाइट बिल है. अब मैं उसको कंप्लीटली नहीं बोल सकता कि ये लाइट बिल है, ये तो वेरिएबल कॉस्ट है, ये तो फिक्स कॉस्ट है. नो, इट इज सेमी वेरिएबल, राइट? ये सेमी वेरिएबल है, ना तो कंप्लीट वेरिएबल है ना तो कंप्लीट फिक्स्ड है. इट इज सेमी वेरिएबल. अब उसका हमेशा हमको बाइफर्केशन करना पड़ेगा. जब भी लाइट का बिल आएगा उसका आप बाइफर्केशन कर सकते हो दो पार्ट्स में, फिक्स कॉस्ट और वेरिएबल कॉस्ट. That's why we are learning the concept of semi-variable cost. अब उसका कंपोनेंट अलग करना है, तभी तो हम ये कॉन्सेप्ट पढ़ रहे हैं सेमी वेरिएबल कॉस्ट का. Why? Because we need to ascertain how much is fixed cost in it, how much is variable cost in it. That's why we study semi-variable cost. I hope it's clear now. Okay guys, see you in the next session. Bye bye.